All right, here we go. Today's show, we're going to go ahead and put the drive wheel in, and we're going to get the old Kube Mill going. I thought we were going to do a couple more things on this show, but the Kube Mill took up a little bit of Murphy's Law and took a little time. But here's one thing: put your old parts to the side so you don't try to use them accidentally, which you see I did later. At the end of this, I put in the adjustment wheel, but without the burrs, the one without the burrs anyway, so that was funny. I had to just put it back in. So we're going to go on here and we'll get this baby going again. I'll separate all the little screws so I can remember where they go. I remember where most of them go, but I guess if you have a lot, you're better off getting a little more prepared. But let's get this new driver wheel out and we'll get that placed. I didn't take apart any of the wiring. I kind of left it in there just to make it easily. I didn't really need to pull all the wire out and everything, but anyhow, I want to get this baby back together. I'd kind of given up on it, and then I just go, oh, well, we'll see if we can get it going again, because it came broken. Like the first time out of the box didn't work, and so I had to mail it back, and then they were on their month-long vacation, and then finally, like 2 months later, it came back, but they didn't really fix it or look at it. I actually had to turn it. It was just exactly the same. They did. I don't even think they looked at it. But anyhow, that's a long story. It cost me an extra $100 to ship it over there back again. But anyhow, I thought they'd just send me a new one, you know, since this one was bad, brand new. But they didn't. They just stuck this back in the same box and mailed it back. And so I took it apart, and I figured it out. It was the adjustment wheel had a fine crack to it. And that's what they didn't notice, so it just kept moving and seizing up. And so I fixed that. It did work for a while pretty good. And then it cracked again. Another one cracked. So I ordered two, put this one on, and it worked again. And then it started spinning after a little bit as the plastic drive wheel had a flaw in it. So I took a little X-Acto knife and kind of recut the gear a little bit, but it only worked a few times, and then it always ended up stopping in that spot. You know, it's Murphy's Law, and it just kept spinning, and so you could move it a little and get it to go, but it started just grinding in other spots. So now we have a new drive wheel, and it's all ready to go, and we're going to just go ahead and put this baby back together and get it going. It's a nice grinder. I mean, it was, I think, $200 when I bought it, free shipping. Came right from La Pavoni. But what it really is the internals, well, are a Sacco. I can never say that right. But anyway, the internals are an i2, which is their lower price machine, has some plastic parts and all this stuff. But it had this problem, but I did, by researching, found out that is. I don't know if some of their newer ones switched to other brands, but that's the internal for the i2. And while I was researching that, that's how I saw the iSteel, because I liked the way this thing worked. I like the super fine adjustment and all of that, because that's one thing. These have micro adjustment. You don't just need to push and see a number and say, well, I'm trying to grind on 2 and go on and on. You can just micro adjust a little bit back or forward. You know, it takes a few tries. You have to kind of do I back it off and kind of do 2 course of a blend, of a grind, I mean, and then work my way slowly. So you might have to sacrifice a few to get it just right, but it's well worth it, because you can really dial, you know, no shims, or, you know, I know everybody has these new fad grinders, but then they all complain about them and are buying things and shims and modifying. But if you spend $400 or $500 or more in a grinder, I think you should plug it in. It should work with you just being able to make a couple adjustments. You shouldn't really have to go through anything. But we'll put this back together here. I'm just adjusting reattaching the adjustment wheel. You have to pull it out because there's 2 little nuts behind, and you need to hold on to them. They're not in little slots. So we got that in. We got the 2. There's actually 3 screws that hold it on and back, and 2 of them are the same. One is a little different, just in case you do this. But on other models, they might be the same. You never know. Sometimes little things are switched around. But we got that back in. We got the adjustment wheel in. So it's been going together. You know, it's not hard. kind of look. I forgot exactly where some things went, but it was pretty easy to look and figure it out again. I don't know why I have my steaming pitcher out. That's just my big one I had out. I was cleaning it. It goes back on the cart, but there's a couple old beans stuck in there too, so those were nasty anyway. I don't know how they got down inside there, but we'll go ahead and do it. And I dropped that screw, so we'll get that back in right. It was a little tedious here and there, but not bad. So we'll go ahead and put the spout on. That just is one screw, pretty easy. It was dirty too, yeah. I kind of was aggravated with it and just put the machine up. I didn't yell at it or kick it or anything. It just went on a shelf because it always looked good. And I just got a hair to redo it, so probably a little screwdriver is going to work better with this screw, but I'm just kind of hardballing it with my one big screwdriver that I like. It works good for everything, usually. So we'll go ahead and we've got that back on. And we're going to give this a nice little test. So we're going. We're going to still do the show later today. We're going to film. Ute's going to make her first coffee on the La Pavoni. Because like a lot of us, we will make the coffee for our goddess every morning. And, well, that's good to do because usually it was the other way around. So, but she's going to learn how to do this. We've got a few different things because she wanted to make her own coffee on occasion. But usually I'm here anyway, so we're going to go ahead and she's going to make one on the next show. And, you know, we have that contest, so we got 10 big bags of nice Hawaiian coffee. So go ahead and subscribe, and of course we have a little secret contest. So a couple episodes ago there's one no one's won yet, and then this one will have one too. It'll have a little secret contest, and we're just 22 people away for the big contest, 22 more subscribers. So get your friends to subscribe, and we always have a little fun. We take something apart and put it together or do something kind of cool, and we're gonna have a lot more fun stuff coming up. So anyhow, let's keep on going here. We got the machine almost back together. We're doing pretty good. I'm just sitting out on the porch. And that little diffuser in the middle, that's always been broken from the minute I got it. And I did paint the top and put a little sticker on it just because it was, you know, it's just plastic and the little silver coating started looking a little funky. So we got it. It's plugged in. We'll turn it on, but I think I did something to the switch there. I forgot to attach that switch somehow. So that's the Murphy's Law. So sometimes you're doing things and you got to redo them. And so off we go. We'll take it back apart. And what I discovered is that the little switch just sits in there, and you have to set it against that button, and then the internals go and hold it in. It's not really screwed in or anything. It just gets held there. So that's what I discovered. I forgot the little button slides off because it's not really attached. It just sits in these little tabs, and then the drive motor holds it in. So best laid plan. So that comes back out, and I was able to figure it out. At first I thought it might be the grind, or I forgot to put the burr or something like that, but no, it was just me. And this time I'm going to use the little screwdriver on the spout. It's a little tiny screw. It's just one screw holds that baby on. So we'll take it back apart. And if you ever have trouble with these, sometimes you do, but I got to take the whole thing apart. Not bad though. That's Murphy's Law. And then we're going to get that little switch fixed because that's pretty damn cool. And then I'll put this back. I had it on the cart for a while, even though I'm glad I got the Apollo because the hand grinder always works. And if there's a power outage, I can still grind coffee, and I can use the Bellman on the camp stove or something like that. Even though our stove is gas here, I think it still takes electricity to start up. But in case there's a power outage, I can pop the camp stove and get the Apollo out and a little Bellman or a little stovetop maker and put it on the camp stove, and we're still good. So let's go ahead and take this baby back out. And yeah, I found it. That's the switch. The little push button switch had slid out of its little slots and was laying at the bottom. Still attached with its wires. There's just a little button on it, and that button pushes the other button, and then the whole apparatus holds it inside. So If you're, and of course, have all this unplugged. I shouldn't have. I don't even. Shouldn't even have to say that, but yeah, have it unplugged when you mess around like this. We've all made that mistake at least once, but anyway, there it's back in. The button should work, so we're going to go ahead and reassemble. Now I know this machine really good, so I've had it apart so many times. So if you ever have one of these, you can contact me and we can take it right apart. But yeah, it's been kind of fun. We got it going again. It's been a long saga. But then I discovered the ice steel through this. So in the end, it worked out perfect. And I've never had to get another grinder. And it just every day I get up and that one works. And every afternoon and every time I use it, the ice steel works just beautifully. And not really any problems. Like all grinders, they retain a little coffee. You just brush it out. It's not that big a deal. And it's good. And I've never had really any static problems. But I think static might be where you live too. But there we go, that's back on. Got the lid. She's looking pretty good. We're going to plug her back in for safety. Make sure the switch is on and off. That's one. Oh, there she goes. I can hear it moving even if you can't. The button's working again. That's the one nice thing is the second off and on switch. Some things we get here don't have that, but it gives you a little security, and that's the adjustment wheel. I'm going to adjust it outward just in case so I don't split that wheel by trying to be too fancy right off. Yeah, it's all running. So make sure it's spinning. Double check, and here we go. Actually, a little disclaimer, I had to take it apart again because I used the wrong adjustment wheel without the bottom burrs. So you didn't need to see that, so there's two. But there it is with the burrs back in, everything right. That's the coffee you win when you do the little contest. And yeah, it's a 7-ounce bag. That's right, and the prize will go to the first person who goes ahead and subscribes and comments 7-ounce bag. And the first person to do that will win a nice little bag of coffee. We're not affiliated with any of these prizes. We just we buy them on our own and send them out to you. We're not really promoting anything or selling anything. So anyway, the Kube Mill worked. There she goes. I like this fine adjustment again. That's really good. You can just move it exactly how you want it, and that's the whole micro adjustment. It's a great thing about the ice steel, and the good thing about this machine. But turn it on, power, and let's see if it goes. Get ready. There it goes. We'll do a couple, just ask some juju. This thing will do 2 or 3 things, puts back together and running, and we'll see how long it goes. It's pretty darn cool.